Welcome to Libtards and Shy. Here, we discuss liberalism and what's stopping its progress, all while drinking way too much Arabic tea, which is called Shy. So, come on in. The year is 1640.
Nah, fuck that. The year is 2022, and I got caught staring at a girl's ass today.
Go on, sensei.
On the way here, I need gas. I get butt fucked at the pump, by the way, as we all are now. Fun. But anyways, I'm filling up gas in my car.
Was there lube involved?
No lube.
Ooh.
No lube. And the full pump went in my anus.
Ooh.
The whole pump nozzle. Nozzle in the anus.
Damn.
Let's name my band.
That's like some extreme douching. Water won't do it. We must use gas.
Yeah, we must purge with fossil fuels.
That's why they call it fracking.
Oh.
Have to break the shale rock.
Well played, sir.
Thank you.
And good night.
No. Give me a sec. I need a sip of my tea here.
That's what they call it, frack. That's good, dude.
That was
a good one. I'm quick with it. What was I saying?
You got caught
at
a gas station staring at a girl's ass.
So after I get finished paying $9,000 for gas, I'm in a car. Girl starts walking by. Girl's wearing sweatpants. Not yoga pants, just sweatpants. Loose sweatpants. And I see an ass. So I'm like, damn.
An ass.
An ass.
An ass.
I'm a man. I stare at the ass. As a man does when he sees an ass.
An ass.
Turns out the girl forgot something in her car, so she turns back to look at her car, and in the process she looks at me, and she sees me staring at her ass, and then she looks at me and then looks at her ass and then looks back at me, and I'm like, bitch, you know you got ass. Why do you have to check where you're you know what I'm staring at?
She's pin the tail on the donkey.
That's my first question. And then she looks at me with this look of just disgust and horror, and I'm like, shit, I got caught staring.
So what did you do?
Well, luckily my car was already in drive. So I just kind of lift my foot off the brake and then give her the purple sweater emoji shrug shoulder.
Oh
bitch,
no! And you drove
and
off.
Just slowly pull away. As I'm like, sorry, and then just drive away.
Oh my god! That's actually perfect. Not what you did, but talking about gas.
Yeah,
talking about gas.
I got caught. I'm sorry. Random girl at the gas station. You have a very nice butt. I apologize if I made you uncomfortable.
Is it a hoodie girl?
No. Chill.
Forgive me, hoodie girl, for I've sinned.
Chill.
For the audience, hoodie girl is a mysterious woman whose face we have never seen, whose name we do not know. But at ACPK, we saw this woman wearing a full covering hoodie, yet her full ass was visible through the hoodie.
Like it was in yoga pants.
It was in yoga pants. It is the most magnificent ass I have ever seen in my life. And if this woman committed a murder,
she gets a pardon.
I literally, first of all, I wouldn't be able to recognize her because I don't know what her face looks like.
I don't know what her face looks like.
I saw her face. I have no memory of her face.
I saw her legs too. It's an intricate part of the ass. I don't know what race she is.
Nope, not a clue.
Because it's like a tannish beige. It could be just a very, very tan white girl. Could be Latina. Could be Arab. I don't know what it is.
But I saw ass.
But we see ass.
Boy,
We've
wow.
seen ass.
My God, she was a piece of woman.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. But yes, she was not.
It could have been a man.
It could have been. Actually, that explains so much.
It could have been a man.
Oh, that's hot.
It could have been a linebacker. It could have been a linebacker for the San Diego Chargers. That's how strong this ass was.
Ferrari engine. Good Lord. Oh God. All right, we're gonna have to go back to something a lot more boring to talk about. Gas. There is a little bit of cognitive dissonance with climate change and the way we as liberals, or we as just Democrats in general,
millennials too,
or millennials,
what are we?
We're in the middle.
Are we millennials or Gen Z?
I would say we're very, very young millennials, or we're very old Gen Z, somewhere in the middle.
I choose millennials.
I choose millennials.
I've seen some of you Gen Z motherfuckers. Y'all look dumb. I don't like it.
When I was a kid, curly hair was considered ugly.
Yeah.
Now it's like all the hottest guys with
Yeah,
curly hair.
fuck all of you.
Like they get perms. That's crazy to me.
Fuck all of you straight hair motherfuckers.
Also, I love how I'm in Los Angeles and I'm in WeHo, and I can no longer tell who's straight and gay.
Yeah, no, dead
I
ass.
also, also LA clothing. I can't tell who's homeless and who's not.
Every time I come to your place, I don't know if a dude's trying to hit on me or sell me crypto.
Right. Yeah.
That's
Everyone dresses like a homeless person or like a girl.
Yeah.
I literally cannot tell the difference. I don't mind it.
yeah.
I would just like to know if they're straight or not.
For you, and that's something to say for you if you can't tell.
No, I have an incredible gaydar.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't know if they're trying to suck my dick or sell me an NFT.
Look, man. What if they're doing both? They're there to party and play.
I applaud the hustle, but get the fuck away from me
Yeah.
for both. I'm sorry. I politely decline the dick suck, and I
Yes.
say fuck you violently to the NFT.
NFTs. Yes, I agree. There is a very weird notion that we are out to save the earth among the liberal or just environmentalists, that we need to save the earth.
That was the narrative growing up when we were coming up as kids.
Right. We need to save the earth. That's why we have Earth Day.
that's fucking-
Inconvenient Truth by, oh my God, what the heck is his name? Al Gore.
Should have been president.
Who should have been president. who you should have been president, who actually won the popular vote.
Yeah.
You know, there's this notion that we need to save the earth.
You had a George Carlin bit.
No.
George Carlin's got this bit where it's like this isn't the dude's a fucking prophet. This was like the 80s and late 80s, early 90s, I want to say. And he goes like, save the planet. Save the planet. That's what everyone's saying now. Save the planet. The planet's fine, guys. The people are fucked.
Exactly. Wow,
You
that's
nailed
insane. From the 80s.
Late 80s or 90s.
That's
I wanna
crazy.
say. Yeah. When
Yeah,
environmentalism first started to pop up.
No, this is actually this is a scientific reality. The earth will survive.
Yeah.
We won't.
No.
You know, or most of us won't.
And it's crazy that he saw a comedian saw that.
You want to know
late
why?
80s, early 90s, because he's not an idiot,
And the evidence is available since the 60s.
and the evidence is available since the 60s,
Yes.
and we still haven't nailed that through our fucking heads. That
Right.
the planet's fine, guys.
Yeah.
The planet was on fire at one point.
It also
Not like parts of like the
No,
entire
it was a volcanic
planet
rock.
was on fire.
Yeah. It's not that we will make the earth
Yeah.
destroy the planet. It's that we will make the earth uninhabitable for human
us.
life. Right. And so a lot of younger people who tend to be more liberal have an understanding that climate change is real. They give the Democratic response or the Republicans who've seen the light, which I believe that climate change is real and that humans are responsible for climate
Yeah.
change.
You know, the Republicans that believe in facts.
Right.
Evidence.
Wow, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
You know? And so there is an interesting cognitive dissonance between what we say and what we do. And for all intents and purposes, there are a lot of things that the individual human being cannot do to fix the problem. For example, 100 companies produce around 70% of the world's CO2 emissions. I, as a regular guy just living in California, as a public school teacher, have very little impact on that 70%. Physically. But I do have an impact on that 70% politically. And there is a difference with how we look at politics, how we behave, and what the hell we say out loud. Here's a few examples. Millennials right now are more likely, and Gen Zers are more likely than any other age group, to openly attest to climate change being real and that this is an emergency that we need to basically move mountains for.
I'd say it's a social norm
Right.
amongst the majority, and we might be biased.
Especially on
because
social media.
Especially in social media. And
Right.
we might be biased just because we live in our California.
Right. There's a weird bit of an echo chamber.
But
Polling is very clear on this that
Yeah.
Millennials compared to especially baby boomers, more of them are
100%.
okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
what is it though that baby boomers and don't really get involved with financially that millennials and Gen Zers are really into? You kind of just shat on it and the
Crypto.
Here's something that we found out in our
NFTs
research.
too. It's all the same.
It's all the shame, right? It's all the shame.
It's all sure.
It's all the same.
Okay. Go, Sean Connery. Tell us.
Hi, my name is Sean Connery. I slap women for fun,
Shy in the nose. Fuck.
Bond. Domestic violence
Violence
bond.
That was great. Stop acting. Who's actor?
This is something we found in our research that was quite interesting. Cryptocurrency alone, by itself, is such a massive carbon emitter that it is single-handedly, if it's maintained, will take us over our 1.5 degrees Celsius budget.
Yep.
What is the 1.5 degrees Celsius budget?
That's the amount that the climate can, the temperature that it can rise before we reach irreversible catastrophic things.
Right.
By catastrophic, we means like certain,
Basically, there's a spiral in the climate system that cannot be reversed. So this is the IICP or II. Oh my God. Let me. I think it's the IIPC. Okay, it's the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. This is a department in the UN. It basically monitors the level of CO2 for the past 800,000 years on planet Earth. Mm-hmm. And it has found that we can only raise the temperature, the average temperature of the planet. Again, this is the average. Climate and weather are not the same thing. Weather is the experience is the weather patterns you see on a day-to-day basis. Like in California, it will rain sometimes, but the climate is on average arid and dry.
Yeah, it is.
Okay? And so when we talk about a change of a degree of Celsius in the average global temperature, that is massive. And we have a budget of 1.5 degrees Celsius from 1850 or the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. Cryptocurrency releases so much CO2 that it is single-handedly will take us over this budget.
Which made no sense when we first read that. But then you got to think, how is crypto generated?
Like, what the fuck is mining?
Yeah.
Crypto.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally
mine it.
running a bunch of servers on 24/7.
Which is running a bunch of electricity.
And they're,
which is running a bunch of
they're
power,
literally
which
just
is
guessing
still...
numbers between 1 through infinity to find out Bitcoin, and who is involved in this massive electricity consuming endeavor? 94% of them are millennials and Gen Z.
Mm-hmm. Everyone went to high school with, apparently, because they keep trying to fucking sell me.
Right. Where is the cognitive dissonance in that? I mean, if that's not... This is one of the major problems.
That's our generation's oil, dude.
This episode and last episode, we highlighted on the failures of the Democratic voter more than the party. This is where we as a collective fail. This is where where the Democratic Party actually has serious plans that we stand in the way of. And this is one of them. When we see the green, we've been shitting on baby boomers. You've polluted the planet. You've destroyed the planet. And they did. And the generations before it have done that. Mm-hmm. How are we any different? Here's another thing that we do. Fast fashion. Fast fashion is a new phenomenon.
That's a huge one.
Like Zara and H&M, where basically every fucking 2 weeks they have a new rack.
Which I'm insanely guilty of. I have so many shirts from H&M.
Here's what's crazy. I'm guilty about it too.
Y'all are.
Of course. There is a collective conscious and a collective responsibility. So, like I said, it's unreasonable. We talked about this in a previous episode with the NIMBYs. It's unreasonable to expect the guy who's directly profiting from gatekeeping low-income housing development near his home. Mm-hmm. It's unreasonable to expect him to unilaterally impoverish himself. It is also unreasonable to unilaterally expect people to stop buying fast fashion, like to go buy that $80 shirt when it costs $8.
No.
That's unreasonable.
I'm buying $10 shirt from H&M.
But the problem is, when you're in the voting booth, you are actively polling shows. You are actively not involved, not supportive, or straight up indirect opposition to regulating these industries. I mean, this is one of the weirdest phenomena because previous generations never fucking talked about the environment. And this is all we talk about, yet we are actively involved in major industries that destroy it. And so this comes to beckon the question of what is our relationship with, one, the climate, and two, energy? What is the day-to-day interaction? Because there's some stuff where we have no control over. For example, most people are not farmers. most people have no control over the amount of water and the CO2 produced by agriculture.
Yeah.
Okay? We can regulate that. We can vote about that. We can put that to a side. But things we interact with, gas, electricity, transportation. You said it in the beginning of the episode.
Those are the big three.
You said you were being butt-fucked by gas prices.
Yes.
You are.
100%.
There is
all of us are.
There is an American sensibility that is built around the fear of gas prices.
It's one of the most terrifying sentences in the American conscious.
When we talk about the climate, let's change this, let's change that, let's fix this, let's fix that, because gas is $2.30. Except we cannot make other forms of energy viable because gas is so cheap. Gas is too cheap. I'm going to say this again. Gas is too cheap. Gas is too cheap.
My asshole disagrees with you, but go on.
What I mean by it's too cheap is not that, oh, hey, let's just tax the shit out of gas. It's gas is too cheap and there are no alternatives because gas is too cheap. So how do you shift the market rapidly? The market in a free market society, which right now we don't have, we have a society in which corporations make all the money, don't pay taxes, and then when they fail, we bail them out. So this is actually social. We have socialism in America for corporations.
For corporations,
right?
only.
So right now, for gas, the market is saying right now the cheapest form of transportation is gas-powered cars. How do you, because we are in an urgent state, in an urgent situation, how do you shift the market? You need government intervention. And this is what I mean by gas is too expensive. It is time for the American conscious to look at itself and answer to itself, why the fuck are we so scared of gas prices? Why are they so terrifying? Why does the rest of the first world not have the same fears as America does when it comes to gas prices? Why do people in Japan not shit their pants?
Yeah, public transportation.
Right. Why do people in Switzerland? Why do people in Vienna? Why do people in Istanbul? Why do they not shit their pants?
Because you don't pay for gas on the train. You pay for a fucking Metro card, which is a hell of a lot cheaper than $6 a gallon. Yeah. And $50 a month for car insurance.
Here's something interesting.
90 to 100 if you're below 25.
Here's something interesting that the Department of Transportation came up with and was shut down by Biden. Here's something that they could have done. Remember, like right around Russia invaded Ukraine, there was basically three forces at work. There was one, gas companies are straight up gouging and price fixing the prices, artificially inflating the value of the price to make up for the losses of 2020.
Yep. 2,
inflation. 3, the Russian invasion. Russia is a major gas exporter.
Yeah.
Okay. These three factors all coalesced into a major spike in gas prices in around February of 2022, and we're still living in their effects right now in the summer of 2022. Here's something the federal government could have done. First of all, it would have showed our enemies, Russia, which is a direct threat to democracy, that, you know what? We don't need our allies in Europe to buy your fucking oil. We can reduce our oil intake, and then we can sell our supply to Europe, or Europe can copy our model. Here's something we could have done. Because people say, well, what are you going to do? Gas prices are up, everyone needs gas. Here's what we could have done. Right now, the U.S. military has millions of men in reserve, men and women in reserve, who do nothing. You also have the Air Force, which is called Chair Force, in which they do nothing. Okay?
Yeah.
Also, the United States military has a fuck ton of brand new, unused buses. And the military, if anything, is a ginormous logistics machine. That's literally what militaries are.
What's that quote? A good general thinks about strategy, a great general thinks about logistics.
The same thing with Napoleon about an army moves on its stomach.
Yep.
Logistics of food. Militaries, that's all they do.
It's one of the greatest logistical mechanisms to ever exist. The United States military, 100%.
And so, why couldn't this abundance of reserve men, who are, by the way, all licensed to drive vehicles, they're all trained, they've all gone through basic training, they're all part of a massive organization that's well-funded, has logistical apparatuses. Why couldn't they run deep, extensive, consistent bus routes? Which is one of the, compared to tram lines, compared to streetcars, compared to subways, not the most efficient. But I'm talking about direct, instant. Within like a month, we can get the shit running. Why in Los Angeles could they not have come in and say, like we did in the Postal Service when they went on strike in the 90s and the military delivered the mail? Or how about in the 1980s when the air traffic controllers went on strike and they ran the airports? Why couldn't they, in this national emergency, which one of our allies is directly under attack, and NATO and the European Union, which is, along with the United States, the Democratic vanguard in the West, why did we not have the military run extensive bus lines so that Americans in LA, in Seattle, in Austin, in New York, actually most of New York doesn't need it, in Philadelphia, in all of the cities of America, could we not have, first of all, hired a few people to develop an app in which you can have a MetroCard, put money on the MetroCard, and then run subsidized bus lines for like a year or 2 years and tell Russia, you know what, we don't need this fucking natural gas. You know what, we don't care if the oil supply is disrupted. That's not going to affect our consumption at home. If consumption goes down, what happens to the oil when there's less demand? Prices drop. And we would have cut carbon emissions. And we would have proven to the American people that bus lines work. And that bus lines are extremely inefficient. And that if we electrified them, they would be even better.
Sounds like a great fucking idea.
And this was proposed.
Makes sense why we didn't do it.
It makes sense why we didn't do it. And by the way, the military would have been actually used to do something good for the first time in 80 years. Instead of invading in Korea and then failing, and then invading in Vietnam and then failing, and then failing, and invading in Iraq and failing, and then invading in Afghanistan and failing,
and invading Iraq again,
and invading in Iraq again and failing. That would have been really, that would have been nice. That would have been nice.
Could have accomplished some really good.
Yeah.
And killed no brown people in the process.
Right.
Doesn't sound like us.
America has such a fear about giving up the car and a fear about gas prices. We do not even have common sense reality anymore.
No, we were brainwashed into the dream of like the James Dean picturesque rolling down the highway.
Look what our solutions for the future are. Gas cars, let's electrify them. First of all, electric cars require rare earth mining.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, here's some crazy conservatives out there who like to tell you that the electric car is as much of a carbon polluter as a gas cars. That's fucking insane.
It's not.
That's insane. But it's still not enough. Okay, first of all, the rare earth minerals means we need to colonize Africa again.
Because we're still producing all the electricity via fossil fuels. So we have to fundamentally change that.
So,
also, we don't have the infrastructure to support electric cars right now.
So we basically want... This is our futurists. These are our great geniuses like Elon Musk. Oh, hey, just let's get rid of every gas car and everybody has to have a electric car. Oh, instead of public transport and subway systems, let's build a highway underground for Teslas.
That's his great idea.
That's his great idea.
Yeah.
Like...
Why? By the way, in the process, he makes billions of dollars doing that. No coincidence there.
No, not at all. Not at all. This is the thing about Elon Musk. In the end, he is a businessman, and he runs companies.
Yeah.
And the company's sole purpose is to make money. He is not a savior. He's not a deity. And genius or no genius, his job isn't to save us.
Objectively brilliant.
But that's not
kind of funny. But I don't know why he's deified. He's exactly to your point.
He's literally
I don't get
his
it.
obligation is to his stockholders, and they care only about money. So, like, what's the difference between a corporation and a person? We've talked about this before, right? Mm-hmm. Have you ever held the door for someone?
Once or twice.
Did you charge them a fee?
I wish.
If you did, then you're a company. This is the problem with allowing the private market to deal with a solution that is not profit-based. It is going to be expensive because we have built the comfort and luxury of the modern world off fossil fuels. I'm not here to vilify fossil fuel companies, and they've done some fucked up shit. But we have built our comfort. We have industrialized the world with fossil fuels.
The era of modernity was ushered in by fossil fuels. 100%. We are not where we are now. Shitting on them without them.
Right. I mean, we're literally powering all the technology in this room, and the lighting, and the AC, and all the shit through fossil fuels.
Not just that, all the innovation that came to produce this technology.
Right.
Like, we don't have the freedom to do that.
So it's time for us to start rationally looking at, instead of these bullshit futuristic ideas, which, if you look at YouTube channels like Alan Fisher or Adam something, these are great urban developer guys who debunk, with using mathematics and physics, all of the BS about these futuristic technologies by Musk and these other billionaires. There is a tried and true, tested method to building clean, efficient cities without the need of a car that have a much lower carbon footprint, and it has been done all over the developing and developed world in many cultures, on many continents, and it is called public transport, rail, subway, streetcar. Public transport. This is the problem in America. Polling shows that the biggest obstacle to achieving public transportation initiatives is the fact that Americans see public transportation as welfare, while the rest of the first world sees public transportation as an economic engine. For every dollar we invest in the federal highway system, we get around $1.15 back. In Canada, they get around $1.08 back. In Germany, for every dollar they invest in public subways, they are getting around $6 of economic output back.
We're getting bodied by
In
Germany,
Hong
guys.
Kong, it's $1. They are getting $15 back. It's one of the most profitable metro systems on Earth. And they have no cars. And again, Hong Kong has a population of millions. None of our cities are like this. We would never deal with the congestion of Hong Kong, you know? So I'm talking about the fact that Americans, when they see high gas prices, they shut down. We have Democrats who are literally running in the midterms on more drilling, more oil, more fracking. We have an administration that, for its love of trains and for its passage of the infrastructure bill, is still blind to some of the more creative, some of the more efficient, some of the most practical solutions, which is using the military in the state of emergency, which we are absolutely in, to run effective bus line systems, which would get people out of their cars, which demonstrate how obsolete the car is. Cars are expensive.
Make people go a year with the convenience of public transportation. They're not going back to fucking cars, dude.
Most Americans have to commute to work. Not because they want to, but because they have to. Because they've been told that this is the only way of life and that it is the only practical option. In LA, if I wanted to walk to City Hall, okay, like my old place, I was in Koreatown. If I wanted to walk to City Hall, if I took a bus, that's a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
And if I took my car, it's 15 minutes. That is a infrastructure failure. That is a options failure. Like, this is the problem. We have buses that come once every hour when they should be coming every 5 minutes. You know, we have to rethink the way we build housing, the way we build transportation, the way we spend our money. We have to rethink a lot of the way we live. And one of the big reasons why we built cities the way they were is because we got lobbied. The American cities were never built for the car. Even in the West, even in Los Angeles, they were never built for the car. America in 1910 had more streetcar miles, these are electric streetcar miles, than every other country on planet Earth. And through the auto industry's lobbying, we derooted these rails, we switched them with gas bus lines, we made the government federally subsidize the highway system, and we put every American in a car. The streets were stolen from us. And with it, we got noxious gas, insane traffic, everything is super far apart, everything is drivable, and when you cross the street, you take your life in your own hands. There are no public spaces. And here in California, we have no parks. There are no major public spaces. Everything is private. Everywhere you have to hang out is a private space. I mean, this is truly, this is truly should be one of the major liberal talking points. It's time to restructure our cities because we actually don't have any. It's time to have the business on the bottom, the apartments on the top. Life is walkable, and you are within walking distance of a subway, tram, or streetcar system.
Life will be so much easier.
And
that sounds like a simple statement, but it's just so fucking true.
And there is a saying that, America was built this way, it's irreversible. Do you know what was a very heavy car city in 1977? Amsterdam. There are photos right now, if you look at Google, of just try congestion, Amsterdam, 1977. You'll see streets full of cars. And you can see them now in 2022, how they have reclaimed those streets for pedestrians. And how they are now have tram lines running through them, people biking through them, people walking through them. We paved and blew up the road for the car in America. And we can actively choose to reclaim that land back to people. Because in the end, the car is killing us. The data is clear that
On
traffic,
several different fronts.
the traffic is killing us. The air quality near roads is toxic. And if you open up Google Maps, go to LA, go to Seattle, go to Austin, look at how much space is allocated towards freeways
Or
parking. It is around 40% of a city.
It's a clusterfuck.
That's places where we can build homes, businesses, parks, office spaces, stadiums, arenas, all kinds of shit. Schools, maybe a university.
Don't get too crazy now.
Oh, I know.
Education.
Education? On black people? No way. You know, this is climate change. There are several things that we're going to need to actually beat this goal. This is a completely different episode. One of them is nuclear power and our hatred of that. We're not going to talk about that right now. That'll be a new episode.
Real fear on that. Yeah.
Right. But the other one is we need to recalibrate the way we think about agriculture. That's also another episode.
Mm-hmm.
And for this episode, we need to redesign the cities we live in because they are built for waste. When you build a city that's spread out, that's more piping for water, for gas, for electricity, that's more maintenance, that's more highway, that's more pavements, they absorb more heat, that's more air conditioning. You build denser, it's cleaner. It's actually, people think it's paradoxical, but it's not. Yeah. The more densely and efficiently you built, the less carbon footprint each individual has.
Yeah, but the less money all those corporations make. And all those contractors make. And all
Shut it down. Shut it down.
Yeah.
I forgot. This is socialism for corporations in America.
Yeah.
I forgot. And I mean, I've literally heard, by the way, you know, I know you're being facetious. I've heard people say what you said, but they were serious. Like they were worried about the corporation.
Yeah. Well, because they still believe in Reaganomics.
It's like
you fucking dumbass.
Like you understand.
You have no defense for that.
The person who's
Idiot.
saying this is dirt poor, by the way. The person who's saying this, who said this to me, was like dirt poor. It was systematically being fucked over.
Yeah, but you said that thing like they believe in that because one day they want to be.
They'll be rich.
It's like no,
you're not gonna be rich.
You're not gonna be rich.
You're not gonna be rich.
Not in this system, motherfucker.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you who's rich. The people who are rich are the people who are rich, and they're not you. And if your father is rich, then you're probably rich.
You were either born rich or your name is LeBron James.
Yes.
It's the only one.
That's it. Know any rich people in your life?
It's the only one.
I have a question. Were their parents rich? Huh. You know one exception? Oh, good job.
We'll slow down a little bit. Were their parents at least middle class?
Yeah. I mean, there is societies, like in Europe, or in Australia, or New Zealand, or Turkey, or Japan, or Korea, or Singapore, or Japan, in which they build the city for the people, for the pedestrian. And then there are cities, like in LA, in which we built them for the car.
Yeah.
I think it's very odd and auspicious that there are so many Americans who firmly believe that the car should take precedence over themselves. This is an addiction. It's time to call it an addiction. We are addicted to gas, which has brought us the modern luxuries of the world. We are addicted to cars because we're afraid of privacy or afraid of being not in our own individual pods. Like, even the Hyperloop is a pod. You know that the pods can be all linked together and then they can carry more people and it would be oh my god, it's a train.
What the fuck? No.
It's like a train.
No, my god.
Oh my god. So, like, this is something we need to have a real reckoning with. And by the way, you know, we're coming off as these know-it-alls, but in all honesty, we did research for this episode, and before it, we were kind of like you. We were kind of like a lot of Americans.
This is all smart people ideas, by the way.
Yeah, this isn't me and, you know, Max coming up with this. Max is nodding. He's like, yeah, I came up with this shit.
The only thing I came up with this episode was I stared at that girl's ass. That was 100% me.
That was all you, baby.
That was all me. Koch brothers had nothing to do with that shit.
Yeah. That'll be a different episode about the Koch
Google
brothers.
the Koch brothers if you're bored and you want to hate somebody.
But in the end, to end on this episode, because we are coming towards its conclusion, there is an addiction to gas that we must recognize. There is an addiction to cars that we must recognize. And it is time to stop believing that public transportation is welfare. It is, in fact, one of the greatest catalysts of economic growth. And in the modern world, where the urban population is growing ever larger, the economic maxims ring true. When you work and strengthen the society at large, the individual is economically strengthened as well. And that is not an issue of opinion. That is an issue of research and fact. And that's all the time we have. This has been Libtards and Shy with Max and Monsoor. Join us again next week for an all-new episode, and please remember to like and subscribe on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Wherever you are and whenever you are, have a good morning, good evening, or good night. What?
Don't wait around till like after the credits. There's nothing weird there.
I'm just going to say this. I think that a woman who wears makeup at her husband's funeral is either a whore or a murderer.